What you're looking for, everybody here on the whole TV. What you're looking for, whoa, welcome to the whole TV. What you're looking for, everybody here on the whole TV. What you're looking for, what you're looking for, everybody here on the whole TV. What you're looking for, whoa, welcome to the whole TV.
Lover, don't you want to get down, 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 down? Lover, don't you want to get down, 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 down? Lover, don't you want to get down, 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 down? Lover, don't you want to get down, 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 down?
And I can make you wanna say, I'ma turn it up and then I'm gonna take a take. I can make you wanna go, never make it out. You've never figured it out. Hello,
Lover, don't you want to get down, 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 down? Lover, don't you want to get down, 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 down?
Set up free, y'all. Set up free, y'all. Set up free, y'all. Yes, I am. Set up free, y'all. Set up free, y'all. Set up free, y'all. Ooh. Yes, I am.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, everybody. And this is the day the Lord has made, and we're here to rejoice, and we're here to be glad in it. Welcome to 2022. Listen, we made it by the grace of God, and I'm so thankful that you're here, and so excited that everybody's made it. Listen, we made it to another year, and we should all be grateful. We should all be thankful and just appreciative that we made it. Millions didn't make it, but we were amongst a few who did. And I think that's a blessing that we're survivors. And I greet you with the spirit of a survivor, and I'm thankful that you made it, and I'm thankful that you're here, and we're here to get a daily dose of hope. And so, welcome to Hope TV. This is our first morning dew of 2022. Hey, and that's something. Yeah, first morning dew of 2022, and what a blessing it is that we're here, and we're excited about it. Good morning to you, Tina, and from Fort Valley, and Judy from Jasper, Florida. Welcome to Hope TV, and welcome to this episode of Morning Dew, the first one of 2022. And I'm certainly thankful and certainly blessed that you're here with us. It means the world that you've tuned in today, and I'm praying. Good morning to you, Rachel Harrison. I'm just so thankful and so privileged that you carved out a portion of your Tuesday morning here, January 4th of 2022. We've gone through so much the past 22 months, and it's so easy to complain about what's happening in the world. These are very uncertain times in which we're living. It seems as if we've been in the pandemic, and we thought we'd be on the back end of the pandemic by now. And in some ways, it kind of seems like we're just starting. The numbers here in Atlanta are at an all-time high. They're higher now than they've been at any point in the pandemic. with the Omicron variant. Uh, but even with that, we're still thankful that we're survivors. 22 months later, we're here. Good morning to you, Sean. And I'm so excited that you're here and that you're a survivor as well. We've gone through a lot. We have, but we're here by the grace of God. I don't want us to ever take that for granted. The fact that we are survivors, the fact that we're here, and the fact that God has brought us to a new year means God has purpose, and God has an intention, and God has a plan for each of us. So welcome, 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 welcome. And y'all come on in and drop me a line and let us know the city and the state and the country from which you're viewing. Our aim here is to provide you with a daily dose of hope, and we're about entertaining faith here at Hope TV, and we want to be faith that's engaging, that's entertaining, and that's also empowering. So welcome to Hope TV, and welcome to Morning Dew. We started Morning Dew in March of 2020, and so it's been going strong for 22 months right now, and I'm just so thankful that you're still here with us. And if you're watching through a platform today that will allow you to either subscribe, to like, to comment, or to share, whatever platform you're watching, if you can subscribe, like, comment, or share, won't you do so? Every time you subscribe, you can get notifications if you desire as when new content is uploaded. And when you subscribe, it helps us to leverage the platform to bring other content creators to our network. Our aim here is to be a 24-hour network, and in order to do that, we want to bring the best of content and the best of programming here that fits our core values. And in order to do that, the larger our platform, the more options we have in terms of bringing top-tier content to the Hope TV. So if you've not yet subscribed, please do so now. Also, hit that like button. Every time you hit that like button, you can get notifications as to when new content has been uploaded. When you hit the like button, the subscribe helps you get new notifications, but the like button helps us with our algorithms, which helps us to expand the platform, expand the network, and also helps us with our engagement. So keep hitting that like button if the platform that you're viewing through will allow you to do that. It's keep hitting that like button. Hit that like button. Of course, make your comments. Your comments help us with our engagements as well. Very helpful during these times of sharing like this. Sometimes you help me to share, and you help me to get a point across, and then that share button. So listen, that like and that share button, keep hitting those, share with other people that you know need a daily dose of hope. Help us get the word out here about Morning Dew and about the Hope TV. So please, ma'am, please, sir, help us to get that word out. Help us to get that word out. It would mean the world to us. Help us to get the word. Help us to get the word out. Help us to get the word out. And as I certainly appreciate it. Help us get the word out. Please, man, please, sir, help us get the word out. Listen, I'm excited today about Hope TV, and we are making plans now for season 6, and already got shows in the works, getting ready for season 6, which is going to start in a few weeks. And so pre-production for season 6 starts tomorrow. As a matter of fact, we've been in development, and so season 6 has been in development, and we're moving to the pre-production stage, which is very, very exciting. And so we're excited. This is going to be the best year ever for Hope TV. I want to thank our Hope TV, our media team, for the job they've done throughout the holidays. Man, they kept us. Man, December was amazing with the Christmas content. We had Christmas week with all Christmas specials. New Year's Eve, they produced a Christmas special for Christmas, and then 2 powerful services for New Year's Eve. Man, the New Year's Eve production, the short film, they did an amazing job. So kudos to our award-winning media team, and so shout out to them. And I'm also excited about the music aspects that are happening with me, with Pebble Street Records, and my record, my album, God Period. As you know, it dropped back in October, and it's still climbing the charts. And I was so blessed this past Sunday to have one of the top DJs in the world. He's kept us to engage the entire quarantine. His name is D Nice. He included my song, Singing Your Presence is a Gift, and played it Sunday. It was amazing. People all over the world were tuned in, and so it was a very, very, very humble to have. And shout out to D Nice, one of the top DJs in the world. I mean, he's had hundreds of thousands of people to tune into Club Quarantine to keep us inspired and motivated. And so, what a blessing! And his family members follow us on Hope TV and follow our ministry, and so it's all a blessing. It's a small world how God does it. So, you not yet got my album, God Period. Go get it. We're out of the Christmas season now, so we're gonna put our attention back on God Period. Not yet got it, get it. Keep calling the radio stations. Song is number 12 on Billboard for the past 2 weeks on the gospel airplay, and it's still rising. So I want to see it break that top 10. I want to see it break top 10 in the next week or so. I want to see it break the top 10. I believe it's going to do it. I never fathomed or imagined this was going to happen, but I believe it's going to happen. It's going to break the top 10. I want y'all to believe with me. And what a blessing. And what a tribute that will be to my mother and people from my hometown and our ministry, everybody who supported me. So please, y'all keep supporting God Period and call your radio stations to get them to support. Your presence is a gift. All right, let's get into our devotion for today. And let me remind you that next Monday, we're going to start a 21-day fast. And it's going to be from January 10th through January 31st. The information is going to be on our website, househopeatl.org. For those who are interested, it's going to be very powerful. But I'll talk more about that in a moment, but it's going to be very, very powerful. And we're going to have scriptures every day, kind of keep you motivated. Jesus says certain types of power only come by prayer and by fasting. And this year we've declared it as the year of God power. At the church, the House of Hope Atlanta, the year of God power. And certain types of power only come through prayer and fasting. So I want y'all to keep that in your minds for this year as we're expecting God's manifested power to be ours in 2022. Amen. All right. So let's get into our lesson for today. We're going to be talking today through the book of Galatians. We're in chapter 5, and I'm so excited. This is going to be a powerful chapter. I'm going to take my time. This is my favorite chapter in the entire book. Galatians chapter 5. We're going to talk through it, and I need your help to talk through Galatians 5. Today, our topic today is coming from that 7th verse in the 5th chapter, where Eugene Peterson in the Message translation said, Message Bible says this: you were running superbly. Who cut in on you, deflecting you from the true course of obedience? It says you were running superbly. Man, you were running great, he says. Man, you had such a good flow and a good pace. You were running wonderfully. But something happened. And what I want to share with us devotionally today, I want to share from this topic: keep running. Keep running. It's very simple. Keep running. Keep running. You know, often we see in scripture that running is often used as a metaphor, or is used as an example of the Christian race. God bless you, Ramondus. Minister's been genuinely inspired. God bless you. God bless you. Appreciate you. That what kind words. Bless you. Bless you. Bless you. God bless you. Thanks for those kind words. Keep running. You know, we see a lot about running. You know, run the race with patience. The writer of Hebrews says, "Wherefore, seeing we're compassed about with such a great cloud of witnesses, now let us lay aside every weight and sin that does so easily beset us, and let us run." So a lot of times that metaphor or that template of running, that analogy of running, is used to describe our walk with God. And Paul often wrote on the backdrop of the Olympic Games, when they will meet every 4 years at Mount Olympus to compete in athletic games to honor the Greek gods and Greek goddesses. And so sometimes that whole analogy of the metaphor of running. And this is the same analogy that is used here in Galatians 5. He says, you were running superbly. And he's speaking to the Galatian people who had been impacted by his message of Christ. Paul went there and wanted the people of Galatia, the non-Jewish people, to know that they could be included in the plan of salvation. He wanted them to know that through Christ, sufficiency was found. And yet, and so they were running with the message of Christ. But what happened, some of the old Judaizers and legalizers wanted to get them back to some of the Old Testament codes and customs and ceremonies and circumcisions and creeds and culinary constraints and and clothing constraints, and so they were trying to get them back to the Old Testament to say, if you really want to be saved or be connected to God, you got to be circumcised, got to follow this code, this creed, this ceremony, these clothes, these types of culinary constraints. You can't eat this, can't eat that. And so they were trying to really suggest that it was more than just having Christ. And so Paul writes, he said, when I was there, you guys were doing very well. He says you were running superbly. You had a good pace. You were on track. You were doing what you were supposed to do, and I felt good about how you were moving. You had a good pace. You were running superbly. You were running wonderfully, headed in the right direction with Christ. He says, but here is what I want to say to you, and I think it's a good word to us because I believe that many of us have a similar pace. And it happens like this, and so often in our lives, even when we start the new year, we start with freshness, we start with, belief and positivity and possibility. The new year gets started, we have a good pace, man, I want to do this. We have New Year's resolutions and our goals and our plans and, putting things in perspective and gonna move forward. And start off good, but 4 days into the new year, things sometimes can shift you and discombobulate you, whether it's the weather up in DC, the Northeast, whether it's the football game that happened in Pittsburgh last night, whether your team lost, or things just throw us all out of whack. And what Paul says to them is, first of all, he says, if you're gonna keep running, I want you to understand 4 things. The first thing he says, I want you to understand, if you're gonna keep running, I want you to understand distractions. He says you are running superbly. Your pace, is what that writer in Hebrews says. We're foreseeing. We're compassed about. We're so very cloud of witnesses. Up in the we got an example and examples in the stands. They're cheering us on. Those who've gone on before us. So lay aside every weight and sin that does so easily beset us. Let us run this race. And that word race in Greek is the word agon. And run the race in Hebrews. It's the word agon or agon. It's alpha, gamma, omicron, nu in Greek. I'm sorry, it's agon. It's agon. Agon. It is where we get the English word agony from. Agon. So it's where we get the word agony from. He says you got to run the agon, run the agony. And it's interesting because this word agon, that word agon, is not the word that's used for a sprint or a dash, but it's the word that's used for a marathon. He said, so the challenge is when you're running, you must realize that you're not running a dash or a sprint, but you're running a marathon. And what he's saying, and that can be applicable to those Galatian people and applicable to us, that we come out the gate running good, but just because you ran well the first 10 meters doesn't mean you won. It's agon, agon, alpha, gamma, omicron, nu in Greek, agon. When we get the English agony, it means marathon. It's an agonizing race. He says, and so when you start out running superbly, he says, but you ran into a distraction. Put that scripture back up there right quick. I just got a few things to share with you. We'll let you go. He says, you ran into some distractions. You were running superbly. And he says, here's what happens. Who cut in on you? Who deflected you from the true course of obedience? As you were running, somebody got in your way. As you're moving, somebody got in your lane. As you were running, sure will, Colleen. As you were running, something or someone got in your lane, and it deflected you from the true course of obedience. I call that distractions. What happens in our lives when we get distracted? We have to be careful as we're running our races that we don't let things get in our lanes to distract us. And we have to have our eyes open because sometimes these distractions may be subtle, and sometimes distractions don't present themselves always as distractions. I've discovered this. Sometimes distractions may be disguised as help. Some of the worst mistakes of my life have been allowing myself to allow people in my space who came to help. But in actuality, the devil comes to distract us, and the devil comes to stop us. And sometimes you can let a weight get in on your life, and somebody who's supposed to help you fly and go forward can actually be a distraction. They can deflect and cut you off from the true course of obedience. And so as we're running in 2022, I want us to be very mindful that distractions can be inevitable, that distractions will come. But it's important that we're able to have the dexterity to have our eyes on the road. So if we need to move, if we need to jump over that distraction, change lanes, but don't let that thing get you ensnared. Don't let it stop your pace. Don't let it slow you down. Don't let it get you out of focus, because those distractions are there to knock you off your course of obedience. God has you on a path, has you on a journey. He says, Paul says in Hebrews 12:2, looking unto Jesus, who's the author and the finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross and despised the shame. So Jesus kept walking and kept running his race, but he had joy set before him. So he could endure the cross, he could despise the shame. He could deal with whatever may be coming his way, whatever distractions, whatever shame, because he had his eyes focused on his assignment. And so as we run this year, we got 361 more days to run this year. But we got to keep focused on what God has called us to do. So keep running. And it's an agonizing race. That word I told you, Hebrews 12:1. Run this race, agon, alpha, gamma, omicron, nu. Agony, it's a marathon. AGON, it's an agonizing race. And distractions can come to deflect you or distract you from your assignment. So he deals first of all with distractions. That's it. But then the second word he deals with is the word detour. And that word actually is used. I use the word distraction, but he actually uses the word detour. Eugene Peterson does it in his paraphrase in the Message Bible. It's right there. Look what he says right here about detours. He says, "You're running superbly. You're running well. You're running beautifully. Who cut in on you, deflecting you from the true course of obedience? Who distracted you? Who cut in on you?" He says, listen, he says, "This detour doesn't come from the one who called you into the race in the first place." He says, listen to me, a detour. Do you know what a detour is? A detour is if you have directions and you're going somewhere and something comes and stops you and tells you to go another route. This lane is blocked. You got to go another way. That's what a detour is. What he says is these distractions are trying to be detours. But sometimes they're detours are nowhere. Let me tell you something about detour. A detour, that's right, Regina. A detour, most of the time when there's a detour, it is not the best route to a place. A lot of times when there's a detour takes longer. That's why you didn't go that route in the first place. Um, a detour, most of the time, if we go a certain route, this is before we had GPS, but even now, sometimes if you're driving and this is a road that you normally travel. Sometimes a detour is a road that you know pretty the road prior to the detour. You took that route because you knew that place pretty well. If you're driving in your city in an area and you know where you're going and you run into a detour, typically you ran into a detour. Um, Typically you took that route because you knew that route best. You went that direction for a specific reason, but the detour puts you on a back street or a side street, maybe something that's unfamiliar to you. Um, Detours can take longer. Detours can delay you. Detours can disturb you because it's like I don't know where I'm going, and detours can also deny you. There have been times I've taken detours and end up getting lost, and especially if that detour, if you following, if you're on GPS and you're taking a detour in a place you never been before, and they're doing road work or something, and they made road changes that have not yet been picked up by. Sometimes you can get you end up in a place where you have no idea where you want to be. And so that is a very good point that as we're running this race, we got to realize that there are detours that were not a part of the original plan. And God is a God who can alter, your plans. But these detours are not the ones that were intended. Well, I think we have to be very, very careful this year that we don't let things or people or situations put us on detours to get us off of our main assignment or our main path. Because detours can delay, they can disturb, and they can deny. And so we have to be very, very careful that we don't end up getting delayed, disturbed, and denied. Absolutely. And because sometimes you never get to that place, or you can be delayed, or you can be placed in danger. Some detours can put you in some neighborhoods and places. Where am I? I don't know where I am, and you can be placed in a precarious predicament when you follow detours, particularly if you don't know. And so yeah, there's a difference between when God alters it, and because here's what God can give you another path. That's why I like what the writer of Proverbs says: trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. Some of the scripture that says the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. So God orders our steps. God can direct our paths. And so that's important that these detours here, he says, are not the one. So this is not divine. And so notice what he talks about here. He talks about distractions. He talks about detours, and then he says something else here that's very, very powerful. He talks about destiny, destiny, distractions, detours, and destiny. And look what he says right here about destiny. Very, very powerful. I want to get to it. It says something about destiny here. Look what he says here about destiny. He says very, very powerful. He says, this detour doesn't come from the one who called you into the race in the first place. And please don't take this off as insignificant. What he says here is that was the one who called you into the race, that was destiny. The one that called you into the race in the first place. He says the detours didn't come from the one. Notice the O is capitalized, the one who called you into the race in the first place. What he's saying is that God here is that God put you in the race. So if God puts you in the race, God puts you in the race because God knows the path. And that's why we have to run on the path that God puts us in. You know, all things work together for good to those who love God and those who are called according to his purposes. And so you and I have to be careful that we don't get on a path that's a detour, that's different from the direction that's not the direction of destiny. Detours try to get us off the path of destiny. We were placed on the path of destiny by God, but detours try to get us off that path. So we ask God, God, let me walk in destiny. You know, give me the path that you want me to walk. Order my steps. One of my favorite hymns I sang since I was a little boy, lead me, guide me along the way. For if you lead me, I cannot stray. Lord, let me walk each day with thee. Lead me, O Lord, lead me. We sing a song, old hymn of the church, walk with me, Lord, walk with me. While I'm on this tedious journey, I want Jesus to walk with me. So Lord, I need you to walk with me, hold my hand, guide my feet, so that I am walking toward destiny and not a detour and not a distraction. Very, very important. And so as you and I are running, we gotta make sure that we're running, avoiding distractions, that we don't walk into detours, that we don't get outside, that we understand destiny as we're running. But also the fourth one he talks about here is very, very powerful. I call this deflators. As you keep running, you gotta understand distractions, detours, destiny, and deflators. This is the last one. Put the scripture back up and let you go. What do you mean deflators? It's right here. He says, you were running superbly. All right? Who cut in on you? Deflecting you from the true course of obedience. That's the distraction. The detour doesn't come from the one. That's the detour. That's the getting you off the path. Doesn't come from the one who called you into the race in the first place. The one who called you into the race, that's God, who has a destiny for you. So as you run, we need to run toward destiny. And then he says this, please don't toss this off as insignificant. It only takes a minute amount of yeast. It's a little yeast, all right, to permeate an entire loaf of bread. And in other words, a little leaven can mess up the whole loaf. Just a little yeast mess up everything. Deep down, the master is giving me confidence that you will not defect. But the one who is upsetting you, whoever he is, will bear divine judgment. I could have called that defection too. Defection, deflators, and defection. I really like defection too. You will not defect. What does that mean, defect? That means going back, to quit. Don't let the yeast deflate you, and don't you defect. Defection. That's a word that's typically used sometimes in military terms, defection, going AWOL. He says, you got to be careful that you don't let a little yeast get in. Because a little yeast can mess up the entire, that's right. A little yeast can mess up the whole lump and deflate you. He says, but I believe the master's giving me some confidence. I'm confident that you're not going to defect, that you're not going to go back, that you're not going to stop, that you're not going to go back and not finish what you started. Defection. And I'm praying that once you get started, he says, now the one who is bothering you, they're going to be judged. Don't worry about the ones who are trying to bring you distraction, trying to throw you off. Anybody's bothering my children, Paul says. Anybody's bothering God's children, they're going to be judged. The Father's going to handle all that. The Father's going to take care of that. But in the meantime, those of you who own this journey, he says, you're going to bear that divine. If you don't defect, the enemy, and those who try to bring distractions, they're going to be judged. Don't worry about them. You stay focused on not defecting. That point is defection. Don't let them deflate you. Don't defect. Don't go back. Don't quit. Don't abort the assignment. Oh, that's right, team. Don't go back to the former thing. Keep on moving. So don't let deflections cause you to commit defection. Don't let distractions and deflections cause you from defection, cause you to commit defection. DEFETIONS, defection. My goodness, don't you defect. Don't you go back. Don't let that little yeast mess up the whole loaf. And whatever you do, do not defect. So as you're running, you gotta have your mind, no defection. I'm not going back. Oh, I come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me the road will be easy, but I don't believe he's brought me this far to leave me. And as you're running out, and as we're running this race in 2022, please know that will be some distractions. As we run this race, we got to watch out for the detours. As we keep running, we got to keep our eyes on destiny. I'm going to change that last word to defection. Change that last word to defection, please. I'm going to change. I like that one better. I didn't see it for defection. 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 When we run, we got to have in our minds, we will not defect. Can you change that last point for me to defection? Oh my goodness. DEFECTIONS. Yeah. No, TION. Yeah, just N. Yeah, right there. Defect. I like that one better. My goodness. As we are running, we will not commit defection. We will not go back. We're going to finish this. Stay on course. So whatever God has for you in 2022, we will stay on point. Nobody's put their hand to the plow and turned back to fit for the kingdom. That was the problem Lot's wife had. Lot's wife, instead of going forward, she turned back and looked back. And the Bible tells us she turned into a pillar of salt. Don't be like Lot's wife, looking back. Oh, God. Paul says in Philippians, he says, I count myself not having apprehended. But this one thing I do. I forget those things which are behind me. And I press toward the mark. I press toward the mark of the prize. High calling, which is in Jesus. I'm pressing toward. I'm not going back. I'm not defecting. I'm going forward. And so on the day, on January 4th, I want to encourage you all, us all, as we start running, don't let distractions, detours, keep these four things in mind. Distractions, detours, destiny, and defection. When you keep those four things in mind, it helps us stay focused in 2022. We're not going back. Ask yourself, how can I get 1% better every day? How can I get better every day? And if you and I will have that in our hearts and minds, destiny is in full view. That's right, Tom, moving forward. I count not myself to have apprehended, but this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind. That's Philippians 3:13 and 14. I count not myself to have apprehended. I'm not arrived yet. I'm still running, still in pursuit. But this one thing I do, I'm forgetting those things which are behind. And I press toward the mark. I'm going forward. And in 2022, don't let anything take you backwards. Don't let any detour, any distraction get your eyes off of destiny and cause you to defect. Keep moving forward. There's nothing back there. Forward, forward, forward. Onward, Christian soldiers. Onward, Christian soldiers. Marching as to war. Onward. Lord, plant our feet on higher ground. And may 22, may the onward march be our portion. May the onward march be our pursuit. Moving forward in everything that God has ordained in your life. Ask yourself, what do I need to improve with this year? And where do I want to go forward in? Not backwards, not stagnant. But how do I move forward in life? Whether it be finances, whether it's spiritually, whether it's in your family, whether it's vocationally, whether it's in your business, whether it's in your health. You know, how do you move forward? That's it. That's the one I want. That's it. That's it. I just quoted that one for you. Brethren, I count not myself to have apprehended, but this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind and reaching, pressing for those things which are before, reaching forth. See, not reaching backwards. That's defection. I press toward the mark of the prize of the high calling of God in Christ Jesus. So make sure we keep pressing. Let's make sure we keep moving forward. That's it, Reminders. That's it. That's it. I'm apprehended by that. I love it. Talk, Reminders. I like that. Keep going forward. Keep going forward. And I believe we keep going forward in 22. I believe that God, if we would show ourselves as being faithful in 2022, I truly believe that God will honor our faithfulness. Because if we're faithful over a few things, God will make us rule over many. So ask yourself this year, how do I go forward emotionally, physically, spiritually, in every area of my life? Help me to make progress and help me to go forward. Well, this is going to do it today for our first morning dew of 2022. I hope you got something that inspired you and encouraged you for the year. Just want to give some stuff to kind of help lay some foundation for the rest of the year. Press forward. That's it. As I said to you earlier, we're going to start a 21-day fast on next Monday. And so it's going to be January 10th through January 31st. And I want you to start praying about it. Fasting is the abstaining from certain foods for a spiritual purpose. If you've never fasted before, why don't you consult with your physician? Some people have, some physical medical challenges that may not be able to do that. But there are different types of fast. And we're going to have the information for you. But I want you to talk to your physician if you have medical challenges. But fasting is a spiritual principle that's taught in the Old Testament and even taught by Jesus and practiced by Jesus. Mark 9:23, Jesus told those disciples, and Mark 9:23-25, that certain types of power only come by prayer and by fasting. And so we're going to start it next Monday. I want to invite you to be a part of the fast with us, if you are able to do so. But consult with your medical professionals first, just to make sure that it won't be something that's adverse on your health. All right, but I love you so much, and I hope that you're excited about this new year. Yeah, we're still in the pandemic. The virus is still in the air, and doesn't look like it's going to be going anywhere anytime soon. And I think we're going to have to find out how to live with it, just like just like we still have chicken pox. I ended up getting chicken pox 2 years ago for the first time. And still end up getting some spots on my body, some on my face, chicken pox. I mean, whoever heard of that? Influenza, the flu is still around. Measles, people still get mumps. And so there are different types of things that we've learned how to live with. And COVID-19 may end up being one of them. And different variants. We got to learn how to protect ourselves the way it's looking. But I do know that God wants to call us forward. And even as we are prioritizing public safety, we still have to live and still have to work and still have to minister and still have to bring hope to the world. And so we just got to learn how to live with it and be safe and live with it and allow God's grace to be sufficient. One of the things that God did for Paul, God didn't remove Paul's thorn. Paul had learned how to live with it, but God graced him even with it. And I believe that even in this pandemic world, COVID-19 may not be removed, but God may give us grace and wisdom to help us still to live and survive. So let's be excited about what's ahead. I know there's more ahead. Here's why I know there's more ahead, because God kept us alive. And since we're alive, let's live today and let's live out this year and keep moving forward and don't let anything take you backwards. All right, family, I love you. I'll let you go now, but as always, remember this: if you will be good to God, God will be good to you. Till next time, peace.
Said I'm free, y'all.